So, just taking this off. So March is Endometriosis Awareness Month, and even though I'm literally 13 days in recovery from surgery, I thought what better time than to film and upload this video in March. This is absolutely mad that I'm doing this, because it's not like I'm like really good and totally on my feet and everything. After this, I am gonna rest like crazy. Again, it's Endometriosis Awareness Month in March, and I had my laparoscopy on the 25th of February 2024, so fresh out of surgery. So I do actually have my little uterus microwavable cushion thing. I thought it was quite fitting for this video, and it also looks very cute in the background, does it not? It looks a bit like sloppy, but that's how my uterus feels. So I've been wanting to do more content about endometriosis, and it's actually been 3 years since my last one, which I've uploaded on my YouTube, and I didn't get any better since then. It just got worse for me symptom wise, and it's been such a long process to get surgery and to be where I am today. It has been 4 years of agonizing, debilitating and severe chronic pain and other symptoms that aren't just physical as well. I just kind of wanted to sit down and talk about the surgery day itself and my initial recovery basically 2 weeks after surgery, because first of all, I'm probably going to forget most of this, and I have notes right there in a massive sized font because I am short-sighted. Okay, so I got surgery on the 25th of February 2024, and I consented to excision for it if they found anything as well. So I had a 7 a.m. admission to the hospital, so I had to be nil by mouth after 2 a.m. for food and 6 a.m. for water or drinks. And then I met my lovely nurse, who was so nice, and I was told I was the second on the list, so I was to be going in for surgery around 11:30, and this was about 8 o'clock when I heard this. And then around 8:15, the people who come around with food, so I was getting surgery under the NHS, so I was in a bed, a bay, you call them bays, I think. I was on a bay with 2 other beds, and there was 2 women who were already in recovery from their surgery. So there was just 3 of us in the bay, and the people who come around with food came round and asked all of us if we wanted food. So this is like the first time I ever had surgery as a grown adult. I've had surgery once when I was like 3, so I don't remember anything. But they asked me if I wanted breakfast, so I just presumed that the doctors and nurses said I'm allowed to have food because my surgery was like 3 hours away. So I said yes please, and I didn't really like the cereal they had on offer, but I took Rice Krispies. And luckily enough, I didn't eat anything except for like the tiniest nibble, because I was flaring up, ironically, so bad on the day of surgery, like really bad. I was bloated. I just needed pain relief. But I thought the people giving the food out were told who's allowed food. So that included me, because they came to me and asked, would you like some cereal? So anyway, so I took a nibble of the cereal and then was just getting myself like sorted. I was just like doing whatever. And then I can't say the word, my anaesthetist came, and he was so nice, but he saw the food and was like, oh no, you've not eaten, have you? And I went, oh, I've literally just taken the smallest bite, but I haven't actually eaten anything. And he was like, oh no, they shouldn't have offered you food. And he was really annoyed that the people who go around with the food had offered me any, because at the same time, you can't blame someone for saying yes to it. So he was like, oh, you might have to be third now for surgery. And I was like, no, because that meant waiting till, I think he said till 2:30. Yeah, I think he said 2:30, because that was like 6 hours from then. So I literally waited another 6 hours without food. I was allowed water, but only until 12 o'clock. But other than that, no food, nothing. And I was just like, I was flaring up so bad, so bad on this day. So it was not a good, it just wasn't a good time for me. I met the surgeon and I already was asked if I wanted the Mirena coil on the day of surgery, and I said I don't think so, just because I've heard so many horror stories, and I kind of just wanted to know what my body was going to be like naturally after surgery. So, but when my surgeon came in, it was one of those things where like they say, oh, you're not on any birth control, and you're like, no, and they're like, why not? And it's like, you don't need to interrogate someone why they're not on birth control, like that's just a personal reason. But because of how he was speaking to me, it kind of just made me feel like, oh, maybe I should. I was so tired, I was so exhausted, and it felt like because he's asking the questions in such a weird way, it made me feel like I was being stupid for not already consenting to the getting the coil fitted. So it was kind of, it wasn't an enthusiastic yes, let's just put it that way. So it was around 2:45 where I was up and ready to go to surgery. I was completely stripped naked underneath my hospital gown. And yeah, so then I went and then waited to actually go into surgery. And I didn't know you could go inside the surgery room while you're still like awake and everything. So I was proper buzzing. Oh my God, I was buzzing so much to be in a surgery room, as weird as that might sound. But I was like looking around everywhere, being like, this is so cool, this is amazing. Yeah, so then I was laid down, and this must be a new thing because I've never seen this, but they attached, my anaesthetist attached like three little patch things that had the wires, and he said they do it to track your brain activity when you're under, and I was like, this is cool, this is so cool. Yeah, so he obviously put the needle thing in my arm, and then he said there's 3 doses of the drugs basically to put me to sleep, and he said the first one you might feel a bit like spaced out, but I didn't. Second one I didn't, and he said the third one's going now, so you of course might start feeling the effect. I didn't feel much different. He put a gas mask on, oxygen mask, whatever you call it, to help me breathe. And he just said think nice thoughts, and all I just kept thinking about was my daughter. Like that was literally the only thing in my mind. I didn't think anything else. No offense to my partner, obviously. I didn't have a classic, like you see double, nothing like that. No, the room wasn't spinning. I don't remember my eyes closing, like at all. I think I was just there like, oh, my daughter. And then that was it. When I came round, I was in a different room. 2 different members of staff were there. And I was just kind of like as if I just woken up from like the most grimmest sleep ever, I guess. I felt very like, whoa, where am I? I don't even think like, oh yeah, I'm in hospital. It wasn't even that. I was just like, what is going on here? But when I came to, there was 2 women who was doing all the whatever they needed to do. And then one of them was like, oh, so you've got the Mirena coil fitted? And I was like, uh-huh. And then she passed me the Mirena leaflet, which is all about it. And because she passed it to me, I was so out of it. I was just like this in the hospital bed. I was just like this while they were like doing everything they needed to do. I was trying to read the exact same words, like I wasn't reading. You know when you read and you just read in the same line because it's not actually going into your head? That's what I was doing. And I was like, yeah, I'll read this while I'm waiting, as if I was in a waiting area. Anyway, so then the lady who was like helping me out and stuff was like, would you like some codeine? I've had the worst experience with codeine, that I've avoided it like the plague. In the past 4 years, I've had chronic pain. But because I thought, you know what, this pain should be quite intense after surgery. So I said yes. So I took it. It's all good, whatever. So I got wheeled back into where I'm meant to be recovering on like the bay I was admitted to. My eyes were heavier and I don't actually remember. I think my eyes were closed because I don't remember seeing anything, but I remember feeling my bed, like the, whatever you call it, the gurney. I don't know what you call it with the wheels with the bed with the wheels. But I remember like the doors, those flappy doors were like hitting it a bit. And I remember it being turned and stuff. Weirdly enough, I remember looking at the clock, or a clock, and it was like 5:45. So I remember thinking, oh, I've only been in surgery for like 2.5 hours, which is what was kind of estimated for my surgery. And then I was just resting and I started thinking, you know what, I don't feel too good. And I thought maybe it's just post-surgery. No, I started throwing up like crazy. I projected all the sick out, like loads. It was painful because I was in pain on my belly, but it was just projecting out all over my bed. And I did it 3 times, and on the second time, I just about got the button to call a nurse in. And then I felt so much better after that. And it was the codeine. I'm convinced it was the codeine. I know some people can throw up from being put under with the anesthesia, but I honestly threw up within 20 minutes, half an hour of taking codeine. And I've thrown up before on codeine when I first started taking prescribed painkillers for the chronic pain. I did end up staying overnight just because we were trying to figure out what pain relief I'd want to take home. The next day when I was getting ready for discharge, I met with the doctors who come and tell you results and stuff. So it wasn't the surgeon. Even though I'd never been diagnosed with endometriosis, I don't know if they knew I've never been diagnosed with endometriosis, but it was just literally, oh yeah, so they excised out superficial endometriosis. And I was like, okay, so that is a diagnosis then. Like, I've just been diagnosed with it, but at the same time, you didn't diagnose me. I don't know. I felt like when you're going to get a diagnosis, it should be a, yes, you do have da-da-da, but it was just more of a, yeah, so they did excise superficial endometriosis. But yeah, they didn't go into depth and I didn't ask. Should have asked, but I think I did ask. I can't remember what I asked though. She was just like, oh yeah, you'll probably hear more in your follow-up appointment, which is now 10 weeks. Well, I haven't been given an appointment yet, but it's supposed to be 12 weeks from surgery. And the Mirena coil also is meant to be 6 weeks post-surgery, which I'm not looking forward to. Really not looking forward to that at all. My wounds weren't stitched, so they were just glued back together, so I didn't need the dressing over them at all. It looks like it's exposed wounds, but it's not, because you can actually see the glue residue that's like hardened, so that protects the actual incisions obviously for healing. I did get 4 incisions, so I had 2 on my left and 1 on my right and 1 straight through my belly button. I've bruised quite a lot right underneath my belly button. Yeah, so while I was in hospital, they do want you to have a wee, and like a good wee. I just weed anyway myself. Nobody even asked, can you go to the toilet and try? I just went and it was a good wee, no struggling at all. I was prescribed laxative pills, and that's obviously to help you move your bowels after anesthesia. And I didn't move my bowels for like 2 days post-surgery until I took the laxative tablets. You meant to take 2 in a day and I took the 2, and then the next morning I just had a normal poop. It wasn't like anything crazy or different. And in hospital after surgery, I was given, I woke up with the mesh pants that they give you, and they're super comfortable, especially around wounds. But yeah, I had those, and they'd given me a hospital pad, which is one of those really thick ones. I'm not sure why they don't have wings on them, because in the pants they're just like moving around, and I prefer a winged pad anyway. But with how dense those pads are, they should have had wings on them at least to like wrap around the actual pants, because the pants are like a weird shape anyway. I did bleed straight after surgery, and I ended up bleeding lightly. It wasn't really like a period, like my periods. It was just really light bleeding. I would recommend taking like a thin blanket, or if you've got like a t-shirt or something on you in your hospital bag, then put that between you and a seatbelt. It does help with any pain if your seatbelt's going to rub on your incisions and stuff. It's common, even the anesthesia said it's common to get shoulder tip pain. I was totally prepared for it. I was like, you know what, this might be the worst thing I'm going to feel. Turned out I didn't really get it at all, but I did get I think the gas that they inflate your abdomen with for surgery, I think it also travels maybe somewhere in your chest, because I did feel really weird. There was a weird feeling in my chest, but it wasn't like the worst feeling, and I think it was only like that for 2 days. Sleeping, could not sleep on my side. I had to sleep flat on my back, and for the first night, my tailbone was in pieces. Oh my God. So much of it reminded me of after I gave birth. I was just like, nah. So the 3rd day I was home, tailbone and back were completely done. Oh my God. I was seriously like, I don't want to be going to sleep because of how bad it is to be uncomfortable while I'm sleeping. Turned out, luckily enough, on that 3rd night, I was just about able to twist onto my side a little bit, and it gave me so much relief. And I was able to sleep a little bit better that way as well. So, but now I can actually sleep on my side, so much easier. I'm still very cautious because it is a bit uncomfortable sometimes, but it's a lot better. I've literally been living in t-shirt dresses since I came out of surgery and got myself dressed. I'm even in a t-shirt dress right now, and yeah, it's the comfiest thing I can wear right now, because it's still very sore to have anything on my belly. Even the t-shirt dresses sometimes hurt my belly a little bit, mainly my belly button. That's the one that's the most sensitive. But the t-shirt dresses are a literal godsend. So yeah, so basically almost 2 weeks later, I am a lot more mobile, hence why I'm able to even do this video. Yes, I'm in like a lot of pain. I did have a really bad pain day yesterday and this morning, but it got a little bit better. I'm only taking ibuprofen. It doesn't actually help on the scale that you would hope it does after surgery, but that's what I'm used to taking, and I don't like codeine or tramadol. So yeah, it's not even like a proper like classic recovery where you think, oh, someone's had surgery, so 2 weeks later they should be feeling less and less pain. Mine's not like that. Mine's literally like I'm still in constant pain, and I'll get the very specific surgery type pain, and every now and then I'll just have a really bad pain day out of nowhere. So it's kind of like, not sure why, but I do have the Mirena coil. So I don't know if that's definitely a mixture. I don't think that's the main thing causing me all the pain. So I can't really say, yes, I've progressively got better in pain. I've just kind of stayed like flatlined, and there's no like, it'll go down and then it'll be back to the flat line. It won't be like down and then all the way up and then it'll stay up. Do you get what I'm trying to say? I am absolutely not expecting like a quick like recovery at all, and I think because I've been so used to chronic pain for the past 4 years, I don't expect much. But yeah, I just thought I would add to the conversation because there is a massive conversation to be had right now, and the gynecology waiting list is really bad right now in the UK. The waiting times for diagnosis of endometriosis itself is one of the worst it's ever been, and it's become, I think, 8.5 years on average now to get a diagnosis of endometriosis. I was fortunate enough to essentially be 4 years to get the diagnosis. It would have been 2, but with things that happened with the NHS and just really basically poor neglection on the hospital side for me, it added on another 2 years essentially, and it probably would have gone longer had I not chased things up. So yeah, I just thought with Endometriosis Awareness Month, it was a very good video for me to start back with my content anyway and share my story and journey to diagnosis of endometriosis. If you do want to keep up to date with my recovery and journey with endometriosis and just hear a little bit more of the journey that I took to get here, then please make sure you subscribe if you haven't already. And yeah, if you have never heard about endometriosis before, or you are obviously suspecting you might have it and you're in the process of the diagnosis or investigation anyway, then please stick to it and don't let doctors dismiss you or gaslight you. So yeah, I hope you've enjoyed today's video. Please drop a like or a comment, and I will hopefully see you in my next video. Bye. It feels weird saying bye with a mic in front of me.